We'll see here somewhere. It's the fourth book of your Bible, in case you're looking. I'm saying that so I can use up time, but I haven't got it yet. It's a method to what I'm doing. All right. Numbers 13, verse 25. If you have it, I have it. Now this is when the spies was returning back after they had spied out the land. It says, and they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. Now they departed and came back to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Paran and Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. Now in verse 23, we can see what fruit they showed. Verse 23 says, then they came to the valley of Eshcol, and there cut down a branch with one cluster of grapes. They carried it between two of them on a pole. They also brought some of the pomegranates, help me y'all, and figs. Now, what I wanted to point out, the cluster of grapes was so big, it took two people to carry it. The grapes that we got now, you can carry a whole tree by yourself. So that's how plentiful the promised land was. So they had good reason. I mean, they came back with good reports about how plentiful the land was. But in verse 27 it says, then they told him and said, we went to the land where you sent us. It truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Talking about the fruit they brought back. Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong. The cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there. That's the giants. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea along the banks of the Jordan. Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it. Now we read this with a calm voice, but I can see Caleb get up and say, hey y'all, shut up, be quiet. Yeah. Listen, it's not us. We can take this land. God promised us this land. Caleb, not at that time, not then he was. But he said, we can take this land. Y'all just be quiet. Stop all that negative talking. He was trying to quiet the congregation because the other 10 spies came back. Him and Caleb and Joshua was the only one that wasn't afraid. And the other 10 came back with a negative report. And Caleb said, look, y'all got to be quiet. God said he's going to give us this land. Right. How often do we start murmuring and complaining because something negative is happening to us? Because of fear. And then, now notice that he had to quiet the whole congregation because what you say affects the people around you. Right. You can either encourage them in faith or discourage them through what you say. So what you say is affecting everybody that's around you. So if you allow fear to overcome you, then you can cause fear to be in those that are around you. Right. Amen? Amen. Y'all all right with that? Sure. All right, verse 31. But the men who had gone up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. See, they were looking at the natural. They were looking at the physical physique of these giants. Right. They had lost sight of God's power. They had lost sight of God's promise, because he said that he was going to give them the land. Nowhere did he say that they would have to try to earn the land for themselves in their own spirit. He said, I'm going to give you the land. That's right. Come on. Amen? Amen. Verse 32. And it says, and they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spied out, saying, the land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants. And all the people whom we saw in it are men of great stature, giants. There we saw the giants, the descendants of Anak, came from the giants, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we are in their sight. Now, this is their evaluation of themselves through the eyes of fear. He said, we are like they said we're like grasshoppers. They saw themselves inferior to the people that dwell in the land. And because of the fortified walls, you know, the giants would stand up on the walls. And he said, we are like grasshoppers in their sight. Now, the giants never did see them. Because had the giants saw them, they probably would have attacked them. But they never did see them. It was them. They saw themselves through the eyes of fear as being inferior to the inhabitants of the land. And the reason why is they lost sight of God's promise. And that's what happens to us today. We lose sight of God's promise. God has given us promises already. Now, these promises are already fulfilled that God has given us. All we have to do is appropriate them for ourselves. He's already fulfilled everything that we need to live godly. He's already given it to us. But we have to appropriate it for ourselves. But what fear does, fear causes us to focus on the problem and not the promise. We forget that God says by His stripes you were healed. So that word means it's already fulfilled. Everything you need to be healed is living on the inside of you. He said that Jesus said, I became poor so that you may be rich. That's 2 Corinthians 8 and 9.